What happened in Southern California that we started getting cold weather again? It's been cold the last few nights.
It has been. It's been cold like the past week.
And here's why I know that, because I'm going to sit out there and I'm going to watch the Dodgers play.
Freezing.
It's nothing like when I would watch the Giants as a kid with my dad.
Yeah.
And we would go to Candlestick Park.
Yeah, and your balls would freeze off.
The fog would roll in off the bay, around the fifth inning.
Yeah.
And there's just no place. It's middle of summer.
Yeah.
No place on the face of the earth is colder.
Yes.
There was no jacket thick enough to keep you warm in Candlestick Park.
Candlestick was cold.
You could have a parka on,
Totally.
and with lights, all sorts of blankets and a hot chocolate, and it didn't matter. You were just, it's so cold.
Have you been to a game at AT&T Park?
No, not yet.
It's really nice.
I've heard.
So much better than Candlestick. It's really nice.
Well, it should be. It'd be terrible if you went backwards. It's the best iPhone we've made yet.
This is the slowest piece of shit. This is like an iPhone 5 right here. This thing's kind of terrible. Please buy one.
Quiet, please.
This new ballpark, it's uncomfortable. The seats are terrible, and every seat has obstructed view.
4, 3, 2.
Company presents a truly terrible podcast. Welcome to Nonsense Season 3, Episode 17. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm J. Little.
This is our take on the week's business, tech, and entertainment headlines. This time, the trade wars wave of retail shortages will hit U.S. consumers in stages. Apple could move all U.S. iPhone assembly to India in 2026. Google ending support for early-gen Nest Learning thermostats. Also, our big story later this week, just how much trouble are we in now that our supply chain from China has been severed?
Wait a minute. So this is really just a happy week of stories.
It's all good news.
Really? Can't we put in some sunlight?
What do you got?
We should just call it Make America Make All the Things It Doesn't Desire to Assemble Silly.
Make America make all the things it doesn't desire to assemble silly.
Yeah. And then we could just call it Mama Titties.
Okay, good. Well, then it's happy.
That kind of works. It's a little better.
You have cheered us up.
Bring some daylight.
Ironically, it is National Supply Chain Day.
No way. Today? Really?
This day marks the importance of the global supply chain in the everyday lives of people. Introduced in 2020 by a Georgia-based packaging outlet to raise awareness about the way our supply chains affect all of us and how we can be better partners and benefactors of the global supply chain management system. And oh boy, are we going to be learning about the importance of supply chain and its effects shortly.
I mean, I'm really interested in becoming a better benefactor of the supply chain.
Sure.
Partner, great. That sounds like work, but benefactor. What can you do for me? How can you get me shit faster?
I think you're going to get less benefit shortly. I think you're going to see the dark side of a ruined supply chain.
Yeah, I did notice last night while I was laying in bed, normally I hear the owl outside hooing. Last night I heard the owl and I heard a giant sucking sound, which I think was the supply chain getting drained out of the country.
All of your goods that you want to buy not being available.
No longer available. Yeah, before I was like, I really want Prime to be within the hour.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the sub-hour Prime. And now it's just like, well, now you just can't get it. It's gone from like available within 4 hours to just not available at all.
Oh, man.
And we are hashtag winning.
They canceled one of my orders, a thing that I was hoping would come like today.
Home automation?
Well, I don't want to go into it. But let's just say it just went from being in my my Amazon order sheet. They literally didn't even send me a note. The whole thing just
got
vanished.
canceled. Yeah.
Just disappeared as if I had never ordered it.
I had a fairly large order of IoT stuff, not from Aliexpress, from a place called Seed Studio. And they were kind enough to cancel it, send me a note and say, we don't think you want to pay the increased tariffs on this. So we canceled the order for you. And I was like, well, you're probably right. But like, you could have at least given me an option, like give me some dollar amounts and play tariff roulette of what are the tariffs on the day it's going to land here. But nope, they just canceled it.
I'm going to come back to this tariff thing in 1 second, but I do want to say that I got an order from Amazon that came this week that made me laugh.
Yeah.
Was in some IoT stuff, some fragile electronics. So actually, and the guy, of course, dropped it over the gate so that it could get into my yard and be safe. Yeah. And then on top of that, he dropped the 70-pound bag of dog food that I had ordered.
On top of it.
Order is important. Which order? He didn't really get that.
Yeah, multiplication first, then addition. He's like, nope, we're going to drop over the Fabergé eggs and then the bowling balls. We're going to do it that way.
And the great thing is I can relive it on my door cam
over and over again. Yeah.
Over and over this and just go, wow, how did you not think this through?
You can see the moment where the screen gets cracked right here when the dog food's mid-flight on the way down. Yeah, it's pretty amusing how that works. As someone who insists on looking at the world through sort of optimistic glasses, I will say I think one of the best benefits that I can see, at least in the short term, of this these tariffs and this retraction in being able to order stuff is because I actually think I'm going to be able to get to some of the projects of shit that I've ordered over the past N years that are just piled up because I can't.
Because you're stopped from buying new.
I just can't go order the new thing. So now I'm just like, oh, well, let's go wire up that thing from 3 years ago that I lost interest in that I never did. So maybe that'll be positive. I don't know.
How is your week going?
My week has been great. I've been playing a lot of Nintendo Switch with my kids. They recently got one for one of the kids' birthdays.
Yeah.
It is so much fun. Nintendo does a great job with their multiplayer experience, and the Switch overall is just a really awesome device. It's incredible to me that it's 10 years old. I was excited for the Switch 2, which pre-orders went live last week. Sadly, I missed it. I was at an event at a bar, a big mixer.
They had a bunch of discussion as to how they were going to release it, what the tariff prices were going to be, all that stuff. They had to they got caught right in the middle of it all.
They just steamrolled it and just said we're going to release it with no price increase, or maybe it was a minimal price increase, but they still have a plan for release. I missed the window. They may not be putting out a lot of inventory. The system's all broke. I couldn't get an order through. I was trying to talk to other people, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen it, you should see the new commercial with Paul Rudd for the Switch 2. It's really fun. I know that he was the kid in the original Super NES commercial from 20 years ago. 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and check how those decades work. And they got him to redo one for the Switch 2, and it's really fun.
He grew out his hair, the whole thing.
Totally. Trench coat, the beads. It was it's a flashback to the 90s. I'll put links in the show notes you can watch. But it's been a good week. No complaints. How about you?
Back to tariff woes. As I predicted, all my Aliexpress purchasing party has come to an end.
Well, you can still order it. It just doesn't show up.
Well, no. Alibaba now adds an import charges line to your bill to cover the cost of the Trump tariffs. They've actually added a line, import charges, that never used to exist
Let's just back up for a second. We have gone from you never ordering anything on AliExpress ever to you now educating me on the day-to-day operations of AliExpress. This all happened in the past month and a half. This is
actually
nuts.
Not true. I had ordered other things from AliExpress before. I mean, I just went crazy the last month.
Yeah.
I was really aggressive knowing the tariffs were coming with my buying.
Sure.
I was going, give me 12 of this. Give me, give me a bunch of this. Give me and now that the tariffs are here, I wish I'd been way more aggressive.
Sure. Well, the most disappointing part of this is really what we need to do is we can't, of course, because AliExpress has halted these shipments, but we should order little LEDs displays to make a ticker board, and we could have it show who's ordered the most dollar amount of things between you and I on AliExpress. Just put it on our wall, and it'll just be like a little leaderboard where you and I can race each other to see who's ordered more stuff.
I'm sure AliExpress has those things in their warehouse.
Exactly.
And we have to be at the top 2 positions of the leaderboard.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm pretty sure they know me. Like, everyone's like, oh, fuck, little, here we go. Send them some more stuff.
The import charges line shows that the tariffs are actually higher than my cost of goods. It more than doubles the cost of my order.
They clearly listened to our show and added that import tariff line. That was very thoughtful of them.
Well, because a lot of things that they sell, have 100% tariff.
Yeah. Well, you know what you can do? This is not a great option, but it is a reasonable option. Instead of ordering all those little electronic bits from AliExpress, you can just go down to the Beverly Center, go to the Radio Shack, and you can... Oh, wait. Oh, no, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Meanwhile, I've possibly been watching the last of the Lakers season.
Oh, no.
I hope not, but as I frequently say at this time of the year, let's go Dodgers.
I think you mean go Kings go, is what you meant to say.
Go Kings go. Absolutely, I mean that. Let's get to our headlines. Speaking of going.
Let's do it.
The trade war's first... Oh, thank goodness, more about the trade war. The trade war's first wave of retail shortages hits the U.S. consumers in stages. Warnings of empty store shelves have been in the headlines as multiple press reports indicate that CEOs of America's top retail stores told President Trump that a prolonged trade war would lead to shortages. I don't even think it has to be prolonged.
Yeah.
When could that become a reality, and what product categories would be hit first? Price-sensitive items like toys, games, budget home goods, and apparel. Those are the canaries in a coal mine of a disrupted supply chain.
First of all, terrible. Second, we need a new analog instead of canary in a coal mine. What's like the? Yeah. Can it be like the mouse in the EV battery factory? Like, what is it? The thing that crawls across the batteries and just shorts out. I don't know. We need to work on that and dies because it's got to die, right? The canary dies. I think that's how you know. I never knew how you knew the canary died. Did you go in after it? Did it?
You put the canary on a rope. You dropped him down slowly down into the mine. He's in a cage. He's in his cage. You tie the cage.
Oh, that's even worse.
You drop it down into the mine. If there's gases that will kill the canary, you don't want to send the humans down there.
Oh, see, I always thought they stood at the front of the mine and they just let the canary fly free.
No.
And he was like a trained canary and he went to the end and then came back.
He's trapped. He's
in a cage. That makes it way worse.
And dies, yeah.
Ask me how my week's going now.
Yeah.
Canaries are right up there with fucking chickens. We just don't care. They're like, oh, this is a highly pathogenic coal mine. Don't go down there.
I really want there to be a science fiction movie where the canary Veterinaries lower the human down in the
humans
cage
down.
to see if the human survives. Yes.
Your weird bird kink comes out.
Fair play is fair play. Come on.
There's a bunch of chickens with clipboards going, this flu is highly pathogenic for humans. 80% of them die. And you're just like,
It's
wow.
only fair. I want the baboon to get the human heart.
You know what? If you had $12, we could do this with AI, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we could just feed all of these stories in and have them generate it.
It's so not fair the way we do things.
So it's interesting to watch this trade war unravel in real time. My understanding is that the sort of retail system here in the U.S. is truly built on speed and scale.
Of course. It's not just the U.S. Everywhere in the world.
Everywhere, yeah, but especially here in the U.S., right? For sure. You're just like all the low margin stuff, everything you just listed, that's the low margin, fast moving goods are what are going to disappear first. You're just not going to have, there's no supply for them, right? The supply is literally gone. So experts have said toys, seasonal kids goods, back to school items. Like I know back to school is not happening for a couple months, but this is the time you start to see this stuff getting made and shipped out. If we're not getting it, it's not going to be here in August. That stuff's probably going to disappear.
All that stuff will get manufactured in Vietnam. Those things will all just move to other Asian countries that are not named China.
Yeah. So, and I suspect you're going to see fashion and apparel is going to follow it.
Yes, some of the stuff you can't change direction fast enough.
Well, that's what I mean. You might just miss this next, this next wave, right? If you have back to school stuff hits the shelves in July, so July, August, September is when you're normally selling that. That's only a couple months away. So you've got to be making it now and getting on a boat shortly to get it here in a handful of weeks and get it distributed. So that's probably going to be problematic. And it's all that fast turnover, apparel that has no margin basically means they don't have a lot of stock. So you're just going to see definitely decreased supply on this in short order. And I suspect that you mentioned budget home goods, right? Those low cost home goods, consumer electronics supply, that's going to be constrained as well. Stuff's not final assembled in China. Many of the parts are.
Correct.
And if you can't get the parts here, you can't make the thing. So I do think what we saw disruption in this supply chain during COVID. I suspect this, at least for the US, is going to be worse, much worse, at least in short order.
Oh, all the car parts that are electronic. What are you going to do when your car breaks down and you can't? It will be like COVID, won't it?
Yeah.
Where you just can't get the parts.
Yeah. So now, instead of me just come over to your house casually to steal your catalytic converters, I'm going to take the ECU as well.
Fantastic.
Which is what I do every time I come over. You haven't figured out that correlation, but
no, I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, I'm just going to go outside for a smoke really quick, and then I come back in all greasy. Yeah, it's the catalytic converters.
Chinese freight ship traffic to the busiest U.S. ports, Los Angeles, Long Beach, sees a steep drop.
Yeah.
Well, this was to be expected as well. Everything that comes from Asia, there's just not as many ships showing.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a number fewer of ships arriving in those U.S. ports.
Quite a bit. It's down like 30% week over week, right? Like that's a lot. I think year over year, you're seeing almost a 50% drop. It's like a 44% drop in vessels scheduled to arrive the week of May 4th to May 10th.
And that's just my Alibaba stuff that I can't order now.
They literally attributed it to you. It was just you.
Yeah.
There's a ship they call the SSJRP that comes across and it's just not going to go anywhere. They don't know what they're going to do. That whole crew just doesn't know what to do. No, it's pretty nuts. I'd read a little bit about this too. Apparently, especially for the West Coast, this is a real tipping point because most of those Chinese made goods come into the West Coast, right? They come into LA and Long Beach ports. So looking at truckloads versus available trucks, there's a drop of 700,000 loads that evaporated nationally in the past week compared to 2 weeks ago.
Right.
That's nuts. So obviously the stuff gets here on a boat, they unload it, they stage it, trucks pick it up, take it to its final destination in most cases. Even if it gets put on a train, it still ends up on a truck. Very few things land off a train at the warehouse they're destined for. So when you see that, you're like, oh man, you can see this ripple, right? This wave coming, and it's not great.
So what happens to the truck drivers who rely on this job to drive things to their last mile?
Well, that's the good news. No, now they start making small electronics, presumably in their home.
Because they have those skills?
Or shoes. Yeah. And clothes. They can make clothes. We don't have any of those. All of the things that we want to make, again, silly.
Some Amazon sellers are pulling out of Prime Day amid Trump tariffs. Some third-party
I'm glad
merchants.
they're pulling out of Prime Day because the last thing we need is Prime Day to get pregnant.
Oh, no. Really? Some third-party merchants who previously sold China-made goods during Amazon's premier July shopping event are sitting it out this year or reducing the amount of discounted merchandise they offer. The planned pullback, which hasn't been previously reported, is a way for sellers to protect profit margins amid the U.S.-China trade war triggered by steep tariffs placed by U.S. President Donald Trump on Chinese goods, according to 4 merchants and 6 consultants collectively advising hundreds of Amazon sellers.
Holy shit, there's a lot to unpack in there. Let's double-click on that. My Lord.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Prime Day to me, it's sort of like Valentine's Day. It's this Hallmark holiday that has no real meaning other than consumption.
Cheap stuff. That's what it means. Valentine's Day means expensive stuff.
No, it doesn't even mean cheap stuff. That's the thing. So much stuff on Prime Day. When it first started, I felt like I got some real deals.
Yeah.
Now I feel like 80% of the shit I look at is at the same price that it was a week before Prime Day, right? It's just this marketing spiff.
Some is just down to what it was 3 months ago, and we haven't seen that price because they were waiting for Prime Day.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and thank you, Camel. Once you see those guys working, you're like, oh, just show me the data over time. Show me the price over time. And I know if this makes sense or not.
Yeah.
But I have found for the most part, Prime Day to be a waste of my time. I spend very little time. And I'm a guy who loves to consume the random shit that Amazon shows me. And I'm just like, like not interesting to me. So you've got these folks that sell all sorts of goods. There was one seller, a third-party seller, who sells like bikes, like $230 bikes and skateboards, things like that. He said he's skipping Prime Day for the first time since 2020, not because he doesn't sell more. He loves selling more, but he's like, I don't know what the future holds. I don't want to sell these at a discount.
Sure.
I'm better off holding them until after, since, he's staring down the barrel of
Because who knows what inventory I'm going to have
exactly
coming up.
So I'd rather just keep them and sell them full price, which I think is it makes sense to me. It's a difficult move for consumers. I didn't know this either in doing a little bit of reading about this. Third-party sellers are almost 2/3 of the units sold in the fourth quarter on Amazon.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
That kind of surprised me, right? I expected it to be 2/3 Amazon, but it's 2/3 third-party sellers. They're going to be the ones that have the hardest time insulating this increase in price. I think most retailers are going to pass it along, but certainly they're the hardest ones. So people are just like saying, with that uncertainty, he just can't offer a discount on his products because he doesn't know what he's going to have in the future.
Sure.
And it sounds like another consultant had said all clients are pulling back on Prime Day deals.
Yeah.
So I'll be very curious to see how Amazon responds to that. I'm assuming it'll be of lower key. Look, I thought there was way too much shit on Prime Day. You couldn't even get through it all.
Well, I always have stuff that I've saved in my cart. And sometimes on Prime Day, one of those items will trigger, or a few of those items will trigger. And that I like a lot. That makes it really easy to see, oh yeah, that was something I at some point wanted, and now I can grab it for 30% off, whatever.
Well, it'll just be a DIY kit. You can just download and build it yourself. Comes with a little kit of solder and some transistors, and you just fucking figure it out.
I'm on it.
Step 1, turn on your ASML machine. You're like, what? I don't have one of those. What the fuck?
Make your own chip.
Step 1, fabricate chip. Step 2, you're like, oh, that's easy.
It's a $30 billion machine. You have one at home, don't you?
Yeah, totally.
Apple could move all U.S. iPhone assembly to India in 2026. Apple plans to shift the assembly of all iPhones sold in the U.S. to India by the end of 2026 amid threat of the Trump administration's hefty tariffs on China. There's a theme to today's show, isn't there? I didn't realize
There
this.
does seem to be a theme. I can't put my finger on it, but there does seem to be a theme.
Shifting assembly of the roughly 60 million iPhones sold in the U.S. to India means Apple will need to effectively double its production in India, according to the Financial Times sources. Reuters later reported that Apple is already in conversations with manufacturers like India conglomerate Tata Group and Foxconn about making the move. Then India gets slapped with tariffs, and then Apple has to go to someplace else. I mean, you really kind of have to have a lot of these options open.
Yeah.
And by the way, it only affects things sold in the U.S. Everything else Apple sells, they can keep their supply chain exactly as it is.
Yep. I guess it does make sense from a durability perspective for somebody like Apple to have significant manufacturing in several different places. So when things like this happen or there's disruption, I get that. I mean, they have such huge economies of scale. I got to believe if they were to split production in half between Foxconn China and India, they wouldn't see a huge increase in price, at least not in cost. This does sound like one of those things I'm like, man, I would hate to be the folks in the room making the decision to be like, yeah, we got to move it to India. And that's going to be a 16-month transition. And then on month 15, it all changes, right? And tariffs from China dropped. Oh, now India. We have random tariff on India. Like, oh, fuck. Like, this is not fun.
You've got to spread your production around. Your production capability has to be, and that's really expensive to do.
Yeah, and arguably makes it even more brittle, right? Now you have more moving parts.
Right.
One thing breaks or something goes sideways. You have weather somewhere in between. Makes it worse.
Apple's been making some of its iPhones in India since 2017, starting with the iPhone SE, and is now manufacturing some iPhone 16 Pros in the country.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's impressive. So interesting. One analyst had suggested that this could take years, and the total cost to Apple could be between $30 to $40 billion.
Oh, yeah. It's expensive to shift where you're manufacturing your assembly.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, I was surprised to see it be that much. I mean, I got to feel like part of the rationale here behind all this has to be like, well, instead of spending $30 to $40 billion to move production to India, just write a check for $1 million here to the inauguration party. You'll be okay.
Well, you hope that would work, but then it doesn't work.
You just got to write a bigger
Right.
check.
I mean, they write the check, and then the thing that they thought they were going to be okay on,
Just the ring.
he comes back on and changes the rules again, and now they're that check meant nothing.
Weird. You know what I like? I like laws. Gonna leave that there.
Yeah, no, rule of law is pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty
rule
good
of law is
thing.
pretty. Well, no, it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
We salute you, our old fallen comrade, the rule of law.
No, I don't want to do that. Oh no. Am I playing taps now for the law? And it's just
The rule of law is so we're
we had a good run.
draping a flag over its box.
Apparently the 80s were pretty good. That's what I'm coming to learn from the 2020s.
I had no idea we were going to.
When MTV came out, we were kind of at the top. I thought we were going up, but no, we were going down. Turns out.
The 90s were great too. Even the early 2000s were.
I don't
pretty
know. Pets.com, that wasn't great. We made some mistakes along the way.
Good. It was fine.
3D TVs, those weren't great. I mean, we've made some mistakes.
3D TVs. Yeah, that was a wrong turn for sure.
I like that I'm thinking of everything wrong with the past 30 years. And the first thing that
3D
pops into
TVs.
my brain is 3D TVs. Oh man, what a scar on civilization that was.
Genocide in Rwanda. Yeah, but the 3D TVs.
The 3D TVs. Those things
Seriously.
were terrible. Oh man. Oh. And then somehow in all of this we lost the Dorito taco from Taco Bell. Was the best.
Is that no longer a
I
thing?
think no, the Cool Ranch version they took away. I think it was the Cool Ranch ones that they took away.
I haven't been to a Taco Bell probably in 10 years. I love Taco Bell. Is it still good?
I also haven't been in 10 years while we're humble bragging, but I do drive by
I'm
it
not
a lot.
humble bragging. I'm lamenting. I love Taco Bell.
I'm lamenting.
I'm so lamenting. I love
They
Taco
didn't
Bell.
go the way of the 3D TV. They're still around. You can still go to one
I
today
know, but
if
it's
you wanted.
it's not convenient. It's nowhere. I mean, I don't know why they don't put them in some place where I can get to them easily. Whatever.
Well, you need to be somewhere where they put them. You know,
That's the problem. They don't deliver.
I'm going to be so disappointed if at the next Beverly Hills City Council meeting, you're out there being like, "We need more Taco Bells." Like, that's it. That's
Taco
your whole
Bell's never
platform. Your entire
Taco Bell's never going to pay the rent that
is
they
we
would
need
charge
more
in Beverly
Taco
Hills.
Bells. It's nothing with the subway or the traffic. We just need more fucking Taco Bells. I got to leave the city to get a fucking chalupa. Chalupa? What are those things called? I don't even remember.
I'm actually pretty sure there's one by the Beverly Center.
I think there is one by the Beverly Center. Oh my God, this is so dumb that we're laughing about this. Oh,
Google is adding support for early gen Nest learning thermostats. By the way, I have two of them. Google is rolling back support for yet another Nest smart home product. Starting on October 25th, 2025, the Nest learning thermostat, first generation from 2011, Nest learning thermostat, second generation from 2012, and the European version of the Nest learning thermostat from 2014 will no longer receive software updates and won't connect to the cloud anymore. You can't basically use it.
Yeah,
It works as a local thermostat. It works as like an old-fashioned hotel style, like those Honeywell ones that they pay $6 for at the hotel.
I just love you so much. Your version of anything that's not automated must be a hotel. Couldn't be
Exactly.
someone's home. Everything must be automated.
I have to walk over to that thing and actually turn it, the thing that's connected to the wall. What is this?
You are patient zero for real life Wally. That's all. That's what I've come to learn here. You are definitely patient zero.
I hooked up a humidity sensor in my bathroom now, so if my shower makes the bathroom too humid, it turns on automatically.
Of course you did. Of course you did. The thing about connected devices is unfortunately this. And more unfortunately, I really do believe I see both sides of this. And it is a bummer because while your first gen Nest thermostat is probably working just fine, and there's no reason for them to turn this off from a consumer perspective, there and while there could be real concerns over like the software it supports or they can't get updates to it for certificates or some shit like that, that's probably not the issue. The issue is they don't want to support it anymore because it has a real material cost.
They want you to buy the new one.
And this is a real problem. I think about not that this is a large purchase, but other large purchases like cars. We've basically managed to support cars forever.
Yeah, for a long time.
I don't know what's going to happen now that for the past 10 years, cars have significant software stacks in them. Usually the community has come along to support that in the past. I don't know if it's going to be able to continue to do that in the future. Same thing with these Nest devices.
Yeah.
I would love to see a world, I don't know how we would even get this done, but where there's sort of like how a patent expires, at some time period.
Yeah.
You could have some proprietariness of the software expire.
And then you have to open it up.
Default to open source. Yeah, because there are communities. I bet you there are enough nerds that have Gen 1 and Gen 2 Nest thermostats that if they were to open source this base would maintain it and keep it going for them.
No, both my Nest thermostats were going in the trash anyway.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I guess fuck my plan. Let's do your plan. Your plan sounds better.
Because
just
they
throw it
because
away.
they
I'll just buy a new one. Joke's on you, buddy. Can't even get them here.
The problem is it connects to the cloud, and that's how you control it. And it's
that would be
all of that stuff is leaving my house.
No, I get
Every
that.
single thing that talks to the
agree
cloud
with you
like
on
that.
this, of course.
Bye-bye.
But I'm just saying bigger picture. Like if you open source that hardware and you could put some new firmware on it that's community maintained, then it could connect locally.
Sure.
Right? The hardware itself isn't flawed. And like the patent system exists so that if you come up with an idea, you can make money on it for some period of time, right? That was the intent of the patent system.
Yeah.
So I definitely see in this cloud world that we're in where they go, well, we're going to sell this hardware at reduced cost. We're not going to make much money on the hardware. Maybe it's even a loss leader, but we want you to subscribe to the services online. Fine. I'm not trying to blow up that model. But for some period of time, if you were to say,
I am.
It's still not going to work.
But
if at some period of time you say, okay, you've made your money for the past 10 years on this Nest thermostat, now open it up, I think the world would be a better place. Like, and if you really want to think about throwing shit away.
I like the idea.
Yeah, I just don't know how to do it.
End of life on hardware is maddening, especially on perfectly good hardware that still works.
Yeah.
It's crazy that you just have this arbitrary date that's end of life.
But there's real software work. There's real effort that has to go into maintaining it.
Totally fine with that. So yes,
but I don't
allow me to move it to something that's open source, and let's all move on with our lives.
Exactly. You got to move because I don't think that obligation should have to live with the company itself, right? I think what the EU's put in some parameters around how long like a phone needs to be supported, and then past that they said, okay, do what you want. I think that's reasonable, but I also like the idea of saying, well, after it's no longer supported, kick it to the community, let the community support it.
Yeah, sure.
And that's really hard to do. These are not really that old if you think about it from a thermostat perspective, but from a digital goods perspective, these things are ancient, right? They're 10 to 14 years old.
Mine's 2012. I've never heard of a thermostat expiring before. That's so strange to me.
Well, because before the thing, like the early ones literally had a coil of copper in it, a little mercury switch. Like, of course it didn't fucking expire.
The Honeywell that they have at the hotel.
Like in the 50s, like Mr. Rogers came over and said, your mercury is expired. I got to take it. No, that didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen. Never happened.
Software's hard. Anyway, you're going to see more of this, right?
Software is not hard.
The early consumer, no, it's hard. The early consumer IoT wave hit, I'd say in the early 10s, right? 2010-ish, plus or minus a couple years. And you're going to see more sunsetting of these devices as they come up on 15, 20 years old. Yeah. I think this will continue.
Yeah, well, be forewarned. Any electronics that live in my house, if you talk to the cloud, enjoy the trash bin.
Okay, I'll let them all know. And all your other devices that are currently sitting on a boat somewhere outside of Long Beach and aren't going to dock for the next 8 months, I'll let them know that they're never going to see your house either. So hopefully they have food and water on the boat.
They may not. It may be a while.
You might not want to rush to throw those things away until you get the new ones actually in hand.
I will have the new ones in hand for sure. Okay, enough of the headlines. In fact, enough of the episode. We have to get out of here. Special thanks to our floor director, Joey Jewell.
Always good to see you in the studio, Joey.
We'll be back later this week with our big story, the sinking of the supply chain.
Oh no, more supply chain? Oh no.
We barely touched it today for half an hour.
Yeah.
Until then, thank you for listening to all this nonsense. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm Stittle.
Hasta luego.
Gesundheit. Are you like me, dear listener? Do you struggle with hand cramps and poorly applying whiteout when creating letters?
Yes, whiteout. I struggle with whiteout.
To your family and documents for your office? Well, if you do, then you need WordPro 3 Plus 64, the #1 selling word processor for the Commodore 64. It now includes SpellWrite Plus.
It spells all your words right, plus some of them wrong.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, it spells it right only if it's really close to the way you intended to spell it.
What's the plus?
It's better than before. It spells words it otherwise didn't know. I don't know. WordPro 3 Plus 64 couldn't have gotten any better, but somehow it did. For the low cost of $99.95, troublemaker, you get a sophisticated word processor, built-in mail merging for form letters, but you never thought about that, math functions for column totals, it'll do sums, and fast and complete spell checking. WordPro is sophisticated, including powerful features such as transfer, insert, delete, and rearranging text. Think about that. Auto page numbering, math functions, including addition and subtraction, headers and footers, and global search and replace. Doesn't work for people, though. I tried it. WordPro 3 Plus 64.
Nice.
Step into the digital age of document creation today.
Fantastic. Let's do that.
You got a year for me? What do you think?
I
I gave you a huge hint.
You did?
Huge hint.
I was thinking 1983.
Very, very close. Probably actually came into existence in 83. This ad was from 1984.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go.
Right in the money.
Because the Commodore 64, my memory of that was somewhere around,
Yeah.
I was maybe in high school a couple of years.
Yeah, well, okay. Was my first computer. I got it when I was 4. But we'll leave that aside. That's not important, I think is what I'm saying. It's not important. No, we'll just leave that be.